Hello there.
Oh, good day, sir.
Yes, you seem like a gentleman who's interested in Japanese animation.
I do believe that could be said about me, although I'd be very concerned to know where these rumors are coming out. I try to keep my secret life secret.
Well, a gentleman must always have his own secrets, of course.
No, yes. You, sir. To know such a dark secret about me, I must assume that you have a similar secret, and that you must enjoy the anime.
'Tis true indeed. You've seen right through me, I'm afraid.
Oh, well. Perhaps you should like to have a seat in my study here, and we can engage about some of the recent seasons starting anime.
Ah, yes, I would love to pick your brain about some of these shows.
Excellent. Perhaps we shall call this segment the Protagonist Seat, and I shall write it in my memoirs.
Yes, and then generations from now, they can record it into a sort of audio format.
And now you know the
That's the
rest of
lore.
the story.
That's the lore of the podcast. We're just reading off what some old guys wrote down.
We're reading off prophetic old Victorian gentlemen's notes about anime that would not air for probably about 100 years.
Yeah, they were really on point.
They
They
did
just
a
knew.
great job. They
were
even knew
smart.
how we'd feel about it. Like, what the fuck?
It's insane.
Nostradamus, move aside.
I'm Alex, and that's Ian.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi, Alex.
Hello, Ian. Can I be Ian this one?
Sure. Hi, Ian.
Hi, other Ian.
Cool. Now it's just two Ians. I've
It's two
succeeded in
Ians.
taking over the podcast. But we don't just read old notes here. We actually talk about things. Things like that's your cue. That's your cue.
86.
Yes. 86.
So it's an anime about racism.
Yes. And it's not very subtle about it.
It is not.
Not even a little bit.
So the silver white people run the world. Although they're kind of purple. They're not really silver.
Yeah.
Their hair's kind of purplish.
It's like a weird shiny light. I don't know what the fuck to call that shade. I went to school for graphic design. I can't even pin down what goddamn shade their hair is.
Yeah, so they run the world, and they're fighting against an empire that has apparently collapsed because its own drones attacked it. So they're basically just fighting a war with drones.
And they're using their drones to fight the bad drones.
Except their drones are people, but they're racist, so they don't consider them people.
It's like how in the Halo universe, a Spartan is never killed in action. They only go MIA. Except with this, the Spartans aren't people, and they drive drones, and no one ever dies according to the government because there aren't people in those drones.
Essentially, the drones are controlled by a handler, which is basically a member of the military that just kind of tells them their battle coordinates and stuff of the enemy from hundreds of miles away from the safety of the government buildings.
And
most of them don't care because, they don't consider the drones people, so for them, they're all just drinking on the job, chilling out, because they don't care. Who cares? They're like, whatever. Yeah. These non-people dying doesn't mean anything. We're going to win the war anyway, because apparently the drones are supposed to shut down in like 2 years.
Yeah. Except for our main character. Our main character does, well, our main, I don't know, military lady does care.
I think her name's Lena.
Yes. I forgot her name because
she is not a racist.
She's not. She feels bad for these people, which is kind of bittersweet for the people she offers condolences to. Because it's like kind of patronizing a little bit. Like, I can understand where people would be like, dude, just shut the fuck up. I don't want your condolences. You're not doing anything.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm not going to help you get out of that situation.
Being nice to us is not helping us in this situation.
Exactly. It's just like condescending a little
It's a
bit.
little kiss on the boo boo. It's
Oh,
placebo.
basically. It only makes her feel better. Fuck that.
And that'll probably become a thing soon where she thinks she's helping, and the rest of them you can all tell are just like, eh. Because she's like, oh, what are you guys planning on doing with your futures after you get out of here? And they're like, getting out of here.
What are you talking about? I'm only coming out of here in a body bag. I like the squad of 86ers, I guess, that we
Yeah,
get.
because our other main character is the Undertaker. Shin, I think
Under
his name is.
Yes. He's the quiet guy. He's the quiet guy among the 86ers. And he's also the one that executes them when they're too injured to leave the battlefield. I really like that scene where the guy, because we spend like the 86 portion kind of getting to know the characters a little bit, and one of the most like vocal ones gets his drone gets fucking super wrecked, and we get a scene where Shin goes, and because we see him with a gun, and we're like, why does he need a gun? Gets out in like 2 seconds, cocks the gun, tries to talk to the injured boy, and then just takes him out, puts him out of his misery. It's a good scene. Also, all of the handlers for those guys go insane. But we don't know
there's
why
a
yet.
weird thing where every single person that becomes one of their handlers either ends up putting in their resignation, retiring, or just in some cases straight up kills themselves.
Yeah.
And they looked into the equipment that they used to sort of jack into the system, and apparently nothing was wrong with it, so they don't know.
I have.
Also, her uncle runs the military. That's a weird thing to get put in charge of by your uncle.
Yeah. Her uncle runs it and was like, "Hey, this is the worst thing ever, but I want you to do it because I think you've got potential." Okay. Even though that feels like a good place to get rid of someone who's like empathizing with your quote unquote unmanned drones. Because they also mentioned that she puts the numbers in the fatality reports, and he's like, "Hey, don't do that. We don't do that here. No one dies.
Yeah, we have no deaths.
So stop filling out your fatality reports." So it feels like that could be a good way of getting rid of her. So maybe someone's trying to do that.
Yeah. And then she gets up in front of a whole classroom of new recruits and are like, these are people. And then the teacher's like, you can't call those people.
What the fuck are you doing?
We're gonna get in trouble.
Lena, you're gonna get me in trouble.
Everyone here is racist. Come on, you're gonna make me look bad in front of the racists.
You're gonna make me look bad in front of the super racist people. Come on, Lena, get your shit together. Yeah. I don't know. I am thinking, I have a theory. I think Shin is recording the last words of everyone who dies and is like doing something with that to like funnel it back into the heads of the people who were the handlers. But I don't know. I just don't know.
Yeah, I'm waiting to see because the way it's turning out, she's very confident in how things are going. Like, oh, they're not so bad. They're just regular teenagers. And then the next episode, there's probably going to be something that makes her realize, oh, I have been naive.
I hope so.
We got that hubris moment coming up.
Yeah, we're waiting for it.
But yeah, this is an interesting show. I like the little tank designs, how they kind of all have like spider legs. I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, it's like I don't know. It's a design you don't really see all that often, which is kind of nice in like a Two Empires War mecha series.
Also, we're probably going to find out that the drones are not unmanned, or they're not going to turn off in 2 years, and that's going to end up making everything a big mess.
I hope so too. I'm waiting for the plot complications to come in. I'm excited for those.
Yeah, because I've seen this light novel series around. I've never read anything of it, but I know it has fans.
I guess we'll just have to wait and see what all the hubbub is about. I mean, so far it's pretty interesting. I like the characters.
Yeah, it's neat.
It's cool. What's next?
So something I haven't heard of before, Shadow's House. This is intriguing.
There's layers.
Because I can never read what it's actually supposed to be. At first I'm like, oh, is this going to be like a horror series? But then it's not. Because I thought all the shadows were going to be bad, but then we can see that Kate definitely is not, even if the other ones are.
Yeah, Kate is not. Sarah? Is that the other one we meet in episode 2?
That's the other one.
Yeah, Sarah's a bitch. Fuck Sarah.
Yeah.
But
I mean, she doesn't necessarily strike me as evil, just a bitch.
Yeah.
There's a lot of mystery going on that I find very interesting.
There's a shadow's web, or there's a shadow's house, but there's a spider's web.
I also find it neat how like navigating the house is kind of like a maze.
It is. The house,
like the entrance to Kate's room is like through like one of those weird like spin walls.
Yeah, to get basically
or they come out of the floor to get to the main lobby area that they clean.
Yeah. And even like basically like there's a noble family called the Shadows, and that their shadows, they release like soot constantly. And
yeah,
actually
and they have living dolls that clean them. And I still don't know what technically that means, because they also seem human in the sense that they need to eat, they need to sleep, they can be injured.
I think that they're actually people, and that they just tell them that they're living dolls. Because, like...
It's also really weird, that part where they're having that sing-along, singing about how happy they are to be servants. And I'm like, you know what? This is kind of weird from a 21st century perspective.
Yes.
I know about time period, that was a really good job to have. Like, if you were a servant in a nobleman's house, that was like a decent position. Because if you want a letter of recommendation, like it's like, oh, I have a letter of recommendation from the Baron. You're basically it's a golden ticket. You can go wherever you want.
We also don't know what the rest of the world is like, because everything outside the manor house is shrouded in this thick fog.
Yeah. Also, we know that the person that runs the Shadow House is apparently this figure grandfather.
He's like Lord Master Grandfather. He's mysterious and enigmatic. We also like the very first scene is a bunch of people lined up at a table in front of two shadows, and the shadows give them something to drink, and all the people are like, we love nothing more than to serve the shadows family. I think that's like some kind of memory wiping drink or something like that, and they give it to people before they start to basically wipe them clean.
Yeah, so they can just basically be their face.
Yeah.
Because that's what their end goal apparently is. So when we see the other one, Sarah, they do the exact same thing, mimic their movements and everything, and their expressions. Which is it's like weird. It's like they have a puppet, essentially.
Yeah. And we know that Sarah's living doll is an actual... Or has sentience outside of that.
Because we see her first when she's just acting as a cleaner.
And I think that was I think that's a really smart idea, is to let us get to know the character outside of that role first. Because it's kind of jarring to see her show up and then act as like the emotive double for Sarah.
I thought the first episode and the second episode really go together well. Because we can see from the first episode that even though Kate's a shadow, she's still just essentially a regular girl.
Yeah. Even if she does speak in the third person.
Yeah. She's just a little autistic.
A little bit,
Granted,
especially
she
when it
spends
comes
all
to
of her
the
time
tone.
in a single room.
Yeah. Although Sarah mentioned something about how she hadn't made her debut yet.
I'm assuming they have to have their face ready when they appear in front of everybody.
That's
Where
what
it's
I'm
like, hey,
thinking.
this is so and so, and this is what they do. Or this is what they
That's
look like. This is their expressions.
yeah. That's what I'm thinking.
Something tells me that it's gonna end up being like Kate's probably gonna. Kate probably likes Emilico. I also just hate that name because it doesn't sound like a girl's name.
It's weird, and I also don't
Emilico.
like it.
I'm like, you should have just stuck with Emily like you were going with.
Yeah, I don't care if she's weird. You can be named Emily and also be a weird person.
In fact, I've met a lot of weird Emilys.
Me too. So just name whatever.
But
We
yeah,
can't
so
change it.
she ends up being named Emilico. But yeah, so I have a feeling they're going to almost fake it
Okay.
instead of her actually becoming like her puppet. They'll be like they'll find a way to just like work together to like sort of fake it in front of everybody.
I dig that because that means if anybody finds out, that puts Kate in like a real bad position with the family as well. So you got intrigue going on
Yeah, I
that
think that's
end.
interesting for the plot. I also think that I guess it depends on how it'll go because apparently, according to the opening and stuff, there's a bunch of other characters and their shadows that we're probably going to have as like parallel stories.
Yeah. I'm curious to meet more people other than Sarah, but I feel like they're gonna take their time bringing
Yeah,
them out because this
but this
feels
is
like
cool
a.
so far. I
It
like it.
is. It's I'll call it a mystery intrigue series because we've got a lot of questions. I
And
forget what's next on the list.
the next one is Higehiro.
Ah, yes, a show
I
that,
shaved and brought home a high school girl.
but we will call it Higehiro because,
That's
interestingly
long.
enough, the Japanese name is easier this time.
Well, that's the start of it.
Yeah, it's just the subtitle that's in English. Whatever.
But it is so I thought it was going to be raunchier from the title, but it ended up being kind of nice.
Yeah, a series where a guy brings home a
Yeah,
high
I mean, it
school
could still
runaway.
totally go that route, but still.
It hasn't started there, and it feels like it's not gonna go to the raunchy route. It
Yeah.
feels like even if it turns
Even if it turns
into
into a romantic thing, it's like probably it'll still be fine.
yeah, and it'll be like a genuine romantic one. It's not gonna be like a raunchy
I mean,
harem series.
people will still call it grooming, but like, you know, this medium's degenerate. What are you here for? Are you not entertained?
And it's technically legal in Japan.
It is. It's morally dubious, but it is.
Morally dubious, but technically legal. That's a lot of anime.
Yes.
But
That's my favorite term, morally dubious.
it's very satisfying to say.
Where it's like it's morally dubious, but you can do it.
It's you know what? That's probably one of the best descriptors for things, especially just anime in general, because like a lot of this stuff he can do, but it's morally dubious.
But yeah, so he essentially sees this girl who really has been putting up with a lot of shit, and he ends up taking her in, and he gets kind of mad whenever she keeps like expecting him to want something in return, because he's like, man, she had to put up with a lot of shit bags.
Yeah, this is a guy who literally right after getting turned down by his big titty boss lady, found a high school girl on the street corner that was like, "Hey, I'll have sex with you," and he's like, "No, don't stop." And
I
he
like that part
genuinely
too, where
meant
he
it.
asks in the morning after he's not drunk anymore. He's like, "Did I do anything?" And she's like, "No, you didn't." And he's just like, "Good going last night, me."
That's a moment I could kind of connect with, because there are plenty of times where I was like, "Wow, I had a lot to drink, but I didn't fuck anything up. Good job, Drunky, and you did it. You did the good thing. My morals stand even when my intelligence does not.
That's when you know you're a decent person.
If you can get drunk and put up a young high school girl without doing anything morally dubious, you're a good guy.
Yeah. Don't test it, though.
Don't test it.
Because you don't want to fail that check.
Testing it in itself would be morally dubious because you're going around looking for that. And that's weird. That's a weird thing to do.
Yeah. But he tells his friend, and his friend's like, hey, you shouldn't get too attached. And I'm like, his friend's probably right.
His friend's definitely right.
Yep, that's probably... Because I like the part where he's talking about the cell phone thing, and he's like, hey, you should just get black or white. That's simple. You shouldn't think too hard about it, because that's too, like, it's getting too attached.
Yeah. It shows that you really want to make her happy. That means you're probably getting a little too invested. Because he's like, he buys her a phone so he can keep in contact with her, because he stays late to help his freaking Kohai, who fucks everything up, which is something I can also relate to.
I like her, though.
She does seem very cool.
She's my second favorite. The boss is my least favorite.
The boss, yeah. I feel bad because Big Titty Boss Lady is a very good stereotype, or character archetype, but like this one's weird and I don't like it. I don't even think she turned down the main guy because she was like, I've been seeing someone.
You know what? This has what was her name? Mommy from Rent-A-Girlfriend.
Yeah, she gives
those
off
vibes. It's like, now I'm interested.
I'm interested because I didn't want you, and now you're doing better. And it's like,
you're not permitted to do that.
You can't do that.
You have to live specifically following my shadow.
And even the best friend was like, hey, she rejected you, but now's when it really starts. And it's like, what the fuck does that mean? I don't like that.
I don't get how he didn't notice the Kohai was into him. Where she's like, so you're not dating anyone? No. Why? I just feel super lucky all of a sudden. That's like the most blatant. That's the most blatant confession.
He missed cues that even I would not have missed, and I am practically a blind man when it comes to shit like that.
Yeah, even the part 2 where she's like, if you if we don't finish this on time, does that mean you'll get fired? And he's like, no, I won't get fired, but I might get moved off the project, and you'll have to switch to having a new person managing you. She's like, I'm gonna go finish it right now then.
See, I missed that one. Like, I saw that moment, but my brain missed the subtext behind the moment. That should tell you guys exactly how oblivious I am. So that second cue, the fact that I did not miss it, should mean a lot. Because I was just like, oh, she'd feel bad. She'd feel bad because you get moved off the project, whatever that is.
They're doing basic code and stuff. Salaryman shit.
Salaryman bullshit.
Salaryman.
Hey, we watched a show called Africa Salaryman. That was pretty fun. You guys should watch that season.
It peaked pretty early.
It did. Watch the first couple episodes of that season and then watch the rest of that season and then tell us how our podcast was. What season was it? I don't fucking remember.
Yeah, I don't remember. Just look for a toucan in the thumbnails.
Yeah. Toucan was fun. But it kind of seems pretty obvious where it's going, you know? We set up the za girls.
It's nice. And I think you can handle that sort of taboo subject well. Like the show After the Rain did it well.
After the Rain?
It's basically where this girl, high school girl, falls in love with her manager at like a restaurant. And he's like 40-something.
Damn.
But it was a nice story.
That shit happens, though.
It does happen. In fact, it happens quite often.
It does. I know at least one or two real-world people where that's happened.
Same.
Actually, someone we went to high school with married an older woman. It was a guy who married an older woman. He married a nurse that was like, I think she's like 35 when they got married right after high school, after he got out of high school.
I worked with a girl who was like 19, married to like a 59-year-old.
I personally don't get it, but like, whatever.
That's how it works for some people.
Yeah. You do you, dude.
She was like, "We're getting the tattoos of Julius Caesar and Cleopatra because that's basically us."
That's a weird thing. That's an odd comparison.
There was an age difference between them.
Like I guess, but history did not end too well for those people.
No, and then she got with his younger subordinate, Mark Antony.
Yeah. That's like people who are like, we're just like Romeo and Juliet. Nah, dude, you don't want to be just like Romeo and Juliet. That's a bad couple to be.
It really is. But
It's
there's so
like-
many people that are like don't actually know anything. It's like when people are like, we want to be like the Joker and Harley Quinn.
No, you don't. That's the worst relationship. People are dumb.
They
Guys,
really are.
If there's a famous literary couple, and yes, I will include Joker and Harley Quinn, and the historical figures, Cleopatra and Julius Caesar, in the subject of literary, because I'm lazy.
I mean,
Guys,
that's
don't
fine.
be like famous
Comic
couples.
books are technically literature, and Shakespeare wrote a lot of plays about them.
Yeah. Don't be like famous literary couples. That's not a good idea.
Because most people read literature for tragedy.
Yeah. And guys, tragedy's not fun. I don't know if people know that. Tragedy is pretty bad. And you don't want to be tragic. But I don't think this is...
You don't want to be tragic. You want to be magic.
You want to be magic. Be like the couple in Magic Mike. I don't know if there is one. I'm
Isn't
just
Magic
kind of
Mike
assuming.
about a stripper?
It is. It's about Channing Tatum as a male stripper. And I'm assuming there's a couple in it.
Probably.
It is a chick flick, so I am assuming that Magic Mike falls in love with, like, I don't know, maybe an office worker or something. Ooh.
Who knows? But you know what I do know? You know what's a type of magic?
Science?
No. Necromancy.
Yes.
So this is a very important show to us. This was the first ever anime of the season on this podcast.
Can it reclaim the title?
Yeah,
Maybe.
It's been some time, so it's got some work to do. Our tastes have evolved, have changed.
I wish I could say that my tastes have changed, but watching it, especially episode 2...
they have changed. Remember season 1? We didn't give a shit about Miss Vampire Who Lives in My Neighborhood. We were like, whatever. And then after, like, as time went on, we were like, that was a comfy show.
That's true. And Hitori Bochi came out, and we were like, holy shit. This is the comfy moe we've always needed.
And then Machikaro Mazoku came out and was like, I am the new gold standard.
It really was.
And then
Still is.
Season 2 of that.
When?
I don't know. Just, they said it is happening, just not when.
Well, when it does come out, even though our rule is we try to avoid season 2s.
No, we've been breaking that a lot lately.
We break that every time.
We have 2 season 2s this list.
Yes. We covered a season 2 last season, and we have 2 now. Is there going to be a season that is only sequels?
Probably.
Maybe.
And if that is the case, it's either everything coming out is sequels to really fire shows, or the worst case scenario, everything sucks.
I genuinely hope we don't get a season where everything sucks.
But Zombieland Saga
does not suck.
We're back at it again. I did enjoy the episode where we see Kotaro is just downtrodden, full of despair.
He lost
an alcoholic.
He lost it. He grew his hair out. He stopped shouting motivational phrases at people. It's sad. And
all the girls have to work shitty jobs because we find out that they are in a rough spot. They sold out to, or they got a show at one of the biggest arenas possible, and only like 500 people showed up. It was basically empty.
Yes, there was, I believe, with the calculations, I think it was 1.6% turnout.
At first, I thought it was going to be a joke about the fact that we're in the pandemic, but they didn't reference that at all. So,
yeah, I'm good with that.
Yeah,
I live that. I don't need Zombieland to remind me of it. Yeah, I just want them to remind me about how great Saki is.
Yeah, and we did get a Saki themed episode for the second one.
I was very happy.
And speaking of being into old men,
that is the Saki episode, yes.
Yep, she's into this old dude with the flabby pompadour.
That I was so totally expecting an impotency joke with the flaccid pompadour, but they didn't do it. They held their heads and their standards high.
Yeah.
And I appreciate it. The first episode ends in probably the most Zombieland Saga way I can imagine. They play the metal show, and everyone gets into a fist fight, and then they defeat the fist fight with fire idol tunes, and everyone is reinvigorated again. That's redundant.
Yep, they have a whole new set of fans.
Yeah.
I also love how the same two guys showed back up.
And they're still cheering for him even when no one else is. I like those guys. And they're the ones who start fighting super hard too. It's great.
And then Tatsumi's back at the end. Ohayou gozaimasu!
Ohayou gozaimasu! You love him.
The second one, they need to be on TV to capitalize on their comeback.
And what better way to do that than with a Saga tour program?
Something for the Travel Channel.
Yeah. And they do it with an old 90s icon, the white
a 90s radio show host.
He was also a musician. He was a rocker. And Saki loves him. And it makes me sad because that means that I'm not Saki's type. And that hurts.
You're not a cool rocker dude.
Actually, if I put the leather jacket on, I think I could pull it off.
Yeah, but you got to either be a biker or you got to be a rocker, and let's see you work on your pompadour.
That's the hard part. I don't think I can pull that off. I might be able to do rocker.
I also love how this guy does not sit in the car.
Yes. We first meet him when his driver fucking Fast and Furious Tokyo drifts around a corner with him sitting on the hood of the car. Turns out that's just how he rides the car. He doesn't get in it. He gets on it.
And I love at the end where he gives the radio show to them and he's like, I'm going to tell the whole world about Saga. And we see at the end he's driving through the deserts of America.
Yeah, it looks like he's in fucking Nevada.
Yeah.
And I actually made the joke. It looks like he drove from Saga to Nevada in the United States just on the hood of the car. So they just drove over or under the ocean.
Or they just got on a boat with the car and just sat there like that till they got to America.
Just somewhat whimsically, no matter the weather, even through the harshest storms, he sat on the hood of that car. That guy really believes in Saga.
And now they have a radio show.
And now they have a radio show. I also made the point of the Saga, the Zombieland Saga revitalization idol project doesn't need to exist. They've done it. They've done it in the real world.
Yeah, Saga tourism, because of the show, has actually increased. At least this was prior to the pandemic.
Yeah, I'm sure it took a pretty big hit. That's what the revenge is against, dude. It's Zombieland Saga revenge against COVID and killing Saga's tourism again. We've solved it.
We get kind of a sad scene at the end too, where I wonder if that's going to be like a recurring thing where the girls are going to kind of finally realize that they're zombies. I know they like know, but like, do they realize?
Yeah, like
Although that's weird what the guy was saying earlier is like maybe they should just give up being idols and just going back to having regular lives as zombies. I guess they're not regular though.
yeah, I guess they're technically not alive. No, because the bar, of course, it's a bartender who gets Tatsumi to go back into Tatsumi mode. Of course.
I think we've seen that guy before.
Oh, we definitely have.
I think we've seen him in season 1.
I'm pretty sure he was like the usual bar that our best boy
Yeah,
went
until
to.
he became really pathetic, so he had to switch bars.
Yeah. Into what looks like a ramen place.
I'm sure that guy is probably also a necromancer.
He's probably the one who taught him how to resurrect people. He's got that look to me. He's got the old necromancer look to me.
Yeah. But it was good. I'm glad we're back.
I also enjoyed the touching moment where Saki's like, because the White Ryu is like, when you ladies get older, look me up. And then
But
she
she'll
is
never
the
be
moment.
older.
Yeah. She won't. She can't. And then they both, her and Sakura cry. And I'm like, damn it.
I like how Sakura just cries because she's an empath, so you're sad, so now I'm sad.
And not only does she cries so hard she basically mummifies right there on the sidewalk.
Yeah, she cries harder.
They're all good.
It's like that meme, like, hey guys, look how hard I can cry.
That's good shit. I'm looking forward to watching more of the show. I like it a lot. Much like.
Yep, we're back at it again with Welcome to Demon High School Iruma-kun.
Everyone is super psyched and super extra about how great Iruma is.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of the first little parts of this episode were sort of, them retelling us who everyone is.
Yeah, I feel like that's accurate.
But then we actually find out, which I was actually pleasantly surprised by how the ring works. That the ring is its own character.
Yeah, because as he levels up with his I guess school power ranking levels.
Yeah, the ring levels up with him, and now the ring can talk. And he tried to explain this to someone, but everyone thinks he's crazy. The grandpa's like, no, rings do not talk. They're like, let's put you down for a nap.
I also enjoyed that.
And they're like, I was getting worried when he was saying the ring was talking to him, but he seems fine now.
And now we have another objective. We have to make Ari realize that we're not crazy. Or, I guess, cross-dressers.
Yeah. Even though now this is the second time he's done so.
Yes, and she knows. She realizes it. Because she spends a bit remembering, like, hey, he looks a lot like that idol girl from a while ago.
Something tells me it's going to end up one of those scenarios where she acts like she's going to, like, be bothered by it, but for some reason she's going to be into it later. Because, like, well, he is pretty cute.
Her cheeks were pretty red.
It's also been established she likes cute and frilly things.
That's why she has to pretend that she's not into it.
Because it looks like from the preview, the next episode, to fix him, she's going to have him join the student council.
Oh boy.
Because it shows him in like the red and black uniform.
I like the student council uniforms a lot.
Yeah.
They're cool.
I also I really like our new character, His name is Alacrid, but he just goes by Ali.
Yes, the ring, but the ring given form, kind of. The ring spirit, I guess, given form.
Yeah. And he is interesting. He's fun. Because I like how first when he's just like, wait, are you talking? He's like, wait, am I talking?
It's just funny. Like they just have a moment where everyone's like, what the fuck?
And I like
can
how
talk?
he's trying to get him. He's like, you're using your magic wrong. Come on, you can do anything with magic. It's whatever you can imagine. Here, change your clothes. And it's just the white variant of his already original uniform. And he's like, you have no creativity.
Try imagining other outfits. Go crazy. And he just makes his outfit the other classmates' outfits.
Yeah.
And he's like, you're so totally unoriginal. What the fuck?
And that's when we get the scene where Amari comes in, where he's like, just wear something you would never think of wearing in a million years.
Those scenes were cut together so perfectly, I knew exactly what was going to happen.
Yep.
Because she's looking at this thing, and he's like, something I would never wear. And I'm like, he's gonna do a dress, and then she's gonna open the door. I did not anticipate him being like, no, but the ring told me to do it. And then she's like, oh, he's crazy now.
Yeah, rings don't talk.
I like that being an overarching theme. Just rings don't talk, dude.
I'm glad
insane.
this show's back. This is one of those shows where I really enjoyed it. I just kind of like forgot that I enjoyed it. I like the characters, even though most of the class is like the B-list My Hero Academia characters.
Yeah.
Guy with lion head. Samurai bird head guy. Sleepy pillow dude.
Jazz.
Jazz.
That's his name. He doesn't have a very distinctive character design. So I can't be like, I can't give him a thing because he doesn't have one. He just looks like a guy. But I know his name is Jazz. His weird character thing is that his name is Jazz. I like it. It's just a comfy, fun show to watch.
It is. I like our core cast of characters too.
Yes, I'm thinking since the class is included in the OP now, I'm thinking that everyone's going to have more to do, which hopefully...
because I noticed it was a lot more of a focus on them this time. So I'm like, they must actually be relevant now.
Everyone's going to do shit. That's cool.
There's supposed to be an exam coming up, so I imagine maybe it's like a class exam thing. It's like, you all have to pass this.
And it's... I don't know, it's probably going to be like some death game shit where people are going to risk their lives. Because that seems to be an overarching trend. And even Iruma's like, oh, it must just be like finals. I should study real hard.
But instead, everyone will be like, Iruma, you probably knew this already, but what we have to do for this is a very dangerous obstacle course.
They have already done that.
That's true. Maybe is it going to be a tournament arc?
Maybe.
Actually, I feel like that's usually when you show off the whole class, tournament arc. Everyone's going to fight each other.
I could see that.
And we're focusing more on his magic ring.
Yeah, and he's going to be better at casting magic.
His power-ups. So, yep, tournament arc. Calling it.
We've done it. You've heard it here first, folks. We're predicting a tournament arc for this season of
Even though we could easily
Iruma-kun.
just look because it's a it's an ongoing manga. But we're not going to do that.
No spoilers. Except that's what our podcast is spoilers.
But yeah.
That's it.
That's everything for the new season.
It's looking pretty good. I think it's got some potential to have some good stuff.
Yeah, I like the new shows we picked. Especially right now, I'm really curious to see the next episode of Shadow's House.
Me too. It feels like the mystery behind it has me kind of gripped, like the mental intrigue games of what's it called? The one where the kids live on a farm.
Oh, Promise Neverland.
Yeah. it's like watching all those characters and being like, what's everyone gonna do now? What's the hidden game?
It is
So many
interesting because it's like
layers.
there's a lot of secrets, and you get the idea that maybe even Kate doesn't know all the secrets.
Yeah, because I feel like Kate
Because she's
and
young, so there's probably a lot that's kept from her.
exactly. I
But
feel
we'll
like
see. I'm also excited to meet the other shadows to get a read on their personality and the other living dolls. I just want to see everyone's dynamic.
Me too. I think that'll be cool.
Also, I really like stuffy Victorian-esque settings.
And this is a good one. The setting with this, even though it all takes place in the same like labyrinthine manner, is very very good.
It takes place in the Winchester house.
Pretty much. The next episode is called The Soot Sickness. So I think we're going to learn a little bit more about that. So that's exciting. Yeah, because I
imagine breathing in a bunch of shadow people residue is probably not healthy.
Yeah, probably not, if I had to guess.
I got some other questions, but we'll wait till we get to next time's episode.
Yeah, we'll save some. We'll save some content for later. If you all want to keep up.
Yeah, if you want to follow us and see what's going on with all the new episodes, think about hitting that subscribe button right there if you're on YouTube.
Yes. Make sure you have your notifications turned on to be notified when we post new episodes, new clips.
And like the video too, maybe, because that tells us if we did good.
Yes.
Leave a comment saying specifically, that was pretty good, guys. Here's a thumbs up.
Yes, and then we'll know. We'll know. If you're not on our YouTube channel, if you're listening on, say, iTunes, iHeartRadio, Google Play Podcasts, Deezer, Spotify.
There's a lot of them.
There's a great many of them. Do the review. I think if you leave hearts on Spotify, I think you can like episodes. Do that. That helps. You can follow us on socials media, and we post new updates there. That is very important. You can find us on Twitter at Protagonist Seat. The amazing OP we always use was made by a lovely gentleman named Popskyy. I'll post his deets in the description below.
Yeah, so think about following us because we have some big plans.
Big plans.
Big plans. Also, check us out. We got a lot of content.
There's a shit ton of content. We've been doing this for we're coming up on
2.5 years, maybe.
Yeah, I think we're coming up on 3 years. I think our third year starts fall.
2 seasons, yeah, fall. So in the fall season, that'll be 3 years.
It'll be 3 years of content you can look back on.
So much content.
We've watched a lot of shit. We've watched a lot of different stuff. We watched the first season of Zombieland Saga we mentioned. That was the first season. We watched the first season of Shield Hero when that was on. That was a lot of fun. Maybe
looking forward to the sequels to that.
Oh yeah, isn't that coming out in October?
I think.
I hope so. Because we've watched 2 seasons of Dr. Stone in the time between the first season and the second season.
Yeah, they need to get their shit together with that.
Yeah, hopefully season 3, which has been confirmed already, comes out a little bit quicker.
But yeah, stick with us, see how we feel about this season, and you can also go and see our awards for what we thought of last season, if you followed that.
Yes, our end-of-season awards ceremonies are always good episodes to watch if you want to get a good overview of what we thought of a season. So go back and just check those out, even if you don't want to check out an entire season of our amazing commentary and sick bits. But that's all we got for you this week. Yeah. Thanks for sticking around. We hope to see you again in the future. Class dismissed.
See ya.